Hello and welcome to Apprenticeships at Askham Bryan College. The college is one of the largest land-based colleges in the UK, and we've gained a good grade for the college from Ofsted and an outstanding grade for our residential students. We offer apprenticeships at York, Newcastle and at Newtonrig, our Penrith College up at Cumbria. We currently offer apprenticeships from level 2 to level 4. So what is an apprenticeship? So it's a genuine job where you're employed from day one and receive training. So you're employed, you have a contract of employment, you're paid and you receive training from your employer and the college. How much will an apprentice earn? So the national minimum wage for the apprentice at the moment is £4.15 an hour, which went up in April 2020. It all depends who you work for on how much your employer will pay you, but that is the minimum that they can pay you. Apprentices are employed for between 30 to 40 hours a week. Majority of our apprentices work between 35 and 40 hours a week. What apprenticeships do we offer? Well, here at the college we specialise in mainly land-based subjects at level 2 and level 3, but we do currently run a level 4 in agriculture. The level of the course that you take is dependent on your job role, not your academic qualifications. So it depends on the level of responsibility that you have at work, which will determine whether it's a level 2, level 3 or level 4 qualification that you study. So agriculture. We run agriculture at Hexham, Penrith, Thurston, York. We run the level 2 stock person standard and the level 2 general farm worker standard. Which course you do depends on the actual type of farm that you work on. And we do the level 3 livestock unit manager standard and the level 3 crop technician standard. Again, which qualification you take depends on what you're doing at work, so what type of farm you're working on. I will mention that the agriculture is delivered on a day release basis. We run the level 2 arborist standard, which is tree surgery, and that is delivered at York, and that is on a block week basis. So you'll come to college Monday to Friday for so many weeks throughout the year to do your study. We run the veterinary nursing level 3 standard, and we have a group up at Newcastle and a group at York. It's delivered on a day release basis. Construction plant maintenance, and this is currently run at York. We run the level 2 construction plant mechanic, the level 3 construction plant mechanic, and the level 2 hire desk controller. These are delivered at block weeks, so you attend to college Monday to Friday for so many weeks throughout the year. I will say for any of the courses that are run on block weeks, we do have accommodation if required. Land-based service engineering. So we run this at Newtonrig and at York. So we run the level 2 land-based service engineer standard and the level 3 land-based service engineer technician standard. And there's optional pathways: agricultural machinery, ground care, forestry machinery and outdoor powered equipment. Again, this is run on a block week basis at Newtonrig and at York. Come to college Monday to Friday, and again accommodation is available if required. Countryside and gamekeeping. So the gamekeeping is the level 2 underkeeper standard, and that is run at Newtonrig only, and we run the level 2 countryside worker standard. They're both run on a block week basis, and again accommodation is available if required. Equine. So we run the level 2 equine groom and the level 3 senior equine groom. This tends to be delivered in the workplace only, so your assessor and course manager will come out and visit you in the workplace where the training has been given to you by your employer. Hair professional. We run the level 2 and hair professional and the level 3 advanced and creative hair professional standards. These are only run at Newton Rig and are run on a day release basis. Horticulture. So we run the level 2 horticulture landscape operative standard and the level 3 landscape horticulture supervisor standard. Again, these are run on a block week basis and accommodation is required, is available if required. Sports turf, run at York, so we run the level 2 golf greenkeeper standard and the level 2 sports turf operative standard, and which qualification you take is dependent on whether you work on a golf course for the greenkeeping or if you work on a sports pitch, that would be the sports turf operative. And we run the level 3 advanced golf greenkeeper standard. All these 3 courses are delivered on a block week basis and as I mentioned earlier, at York. So what are the entry requirements? Well, apprenticeships are available to anybody over the age of 16 working in England. There is no restriction on the age of an apprentice. Many people seem to think that apprenticeships are for people between 16 and 18, but actually there is no age restriction on apprenticeships. There are different entry requirements depending on the industry, on your job role, on the apprenticeship level and the employer requirements. As mentioned earlier, the main thing that determines the level of qualification that you study is your job role rather than your academic qualifications. But one thing that has to be mentioned is maths and English, because within each qualification a certain level of maths and English has to be gained. So for a level 2 apprenticeship qualification, the apprentices must achieve level 1 maths and English or have exemption of level 1 maths and English and sit the assessment for level 2. And level 3 or above apprenticeships, the apprentices must achieve level 2 maths and English qualifications. So what does that mean for exemption? So for a level 1 maths and English exemption, that's equal to the GCSE grades 2 and 3, and on the old grading that is a D and an E. And for level 2 maths and English exemption, that's equal to the GCSE grades 4 to 9, or on the old gradings C or above. So if you haven't got exemptions, the required exemptions for the level of qualification that you're taking, functional skills will be delivered at college in a block week basis for the maths and English. So there'll be a week of maths or a week of English depending on which level and which subject that you're required to achieve. What will the college do to support you? So we'll work very closely with you from receiving your application form. We'll carry out an interview with you and we'll ensure that you select an appropriate course programme to meet your needs and to ensure that your employment is suitable to enable achievement of your apprenticeship. So once you have gained employment, a member of the college staff will go out to your employer and check that you will be able to achieve your qualification with the tasks that you're given to do in the workplace. So after finding employment, as mentioned, we'll work very closely with you and your employer to ensure that you receive an induction programme on starting. So you'll have an induction programme at college and in the workplace. A detailed training plan, so you'll have a one-file portfolio to complete throughout your qualification. Regular progress reviews and appraisals, so your assessor or your course manager will visit you in the workplace roughly every 10 weeks to carry out progress reviews with you and sit with you and your supervisor to discuss what jobs you've done and what's coming up, and set you some progress targets. And also your employer has to provide you with quarterly appraisals. So they carry out an appraisal with you every 3 months to determine what skills you've gained and what knowledge you've gained and what you might need more practice on. And mentoring and general support throughout your apprenticeship. So the college will support you, provide pastoral support if required, and also quite often the employer will provide a mentor or somebody to work alongside you in the workplace to help you gain your knowledge, skills and behaviours. So assessment. So how is your course assessed? How is your progress assessed? So you'll be assessed regularly, as mentioned, by your assessor to ensure you're developing the required skills, knowledge and behaviours in your job, and you're progressing with your qualification as required. And because now all the apprenticeships are what we call standards, an endpoint assessment organisation will determine whether you've gained the skills, knowledges and behaviours to pass your qualification. So once you, a college member of staff and your employer think that you've gained all the knowledge, skills and behaviours required within your standard, your course, then you will go through what is called the gateway and be put through ready for your endpoint assessments. So the actual assessments that you'll do at the end of your qualification to determine what grade you get for your qualification. So the endpoint assessment organisation will send out an endpoint assessor to either the workplace or to college, and they will determine and provide you with your overall final grade. So what's in the endpoint assessments? Each course has different endpoint assessments and different grading scales. Some grade pass, merit and distinction, some just grade pass and distinction. But the knowledge will be assessed, whether it's multi-choice questions or written exams. The practicals will be assessed by an observation by the endpoint assessor of some practical tasks, and there's normally a professional discussion. So the endpoint assessor will sit down and talk through your portfolio of evidence that you've supplied or accumulated throughout your qualification. And as mentioned, they will provide the overall grade for your qualification for you. Fees and other costs. Where fees are applicable for your apprenticeship training, these will be met by your employer. So depending on your age when you start your apprenticeship and how many employees your employer employs, that will determine on whether the government fully funds the qualification or whether it's co-funded, so the government pays some of the fees and the employer pays the rest. There may be some costs, as mentioned, for accommodation. So if you are coming to college to stay during a block week, there will be some costs for the accommodation, and there may be some travel costs as well, travel to work and to college. We do have presently a bus service which you can book onto if required. So what next? If you think an apprenticeship is for you, do please complete an application form, and then you'll be invited in for an interview with your relevant course manager. You can apply for as many courses as you would like, and you can also apply for full-time courses as well as the apprenticeship courses, because the main thing with an apprenticeship is you do need to be in paid employment. Here I've added some contact details of the relevant course managers. So if you'd like more specific information, please do email the relevant course managers, and they will then contact you to supply whatever inquiries you may have, answer any questions you may have. So for horticulture level 2 and 3, it's Adele Jagger. For level 2 countryside worker, again it's Adele Jagger. For level 2 greenkeeping and groundsman, that's Boyan Jovanovic. For level 3 advanced golf greenkeeper, that's Chris Hunter. For level 2 arborist, that's David Butterfield. For level 2 and level 3 equine, that's Kate Carman. For level 2 construction plant mechanic, that's Chris Suttle. For level 3 construction plant mechanic, that's James Thompson. For level 2 higher desk controller, that's Pete Chapman. And then at York, for level 2 stock person and general farm worker, that's Alex Welsh. And for level 3 crop technician and livestock unit manager, that's Josh Wright. For level 2 land-based service engineering at York, that's Mike Harrington. And for level 3 land-based service advanced technician at York, that's Martin Smith. At Newton Rig Penrith, our Penrith site, for level 2 stock person and general farm worker, that's Sarah Stobart. For level 3 crop technician and livestock unit manager, that's Sarah Stobart. For level 2 land-based service engineering at Newton Rig, that's Anthony Gibson. And for level 2 and level 3 hair, that's Jane Hetherington at Newton Rig. And for level 2 underkeeper, that's the gamekeeping apprenticeship, that's Jason Dakin at Newton Rig. Thank you for listening, and please do contact any of the course managers if you'd like any more specific course related information. I wish you well with any course that you choose to study. Thank you.